All right, for today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Power of the Primes Legend Class Slash. This is a figure from a few years ago. It came out in 2017, but yeah, it still holds up. We've been getting some new Dinobots, so and we had a core class figure from Kingdom that reminded me a lot of Slash. So I figured, why not do a review on her? She's a good little figure, but yeah, she turns into a little some kind of raptor. Basically, for Power of the Primes, they added her as basically a sixth Dinobot, and she kind of is meant to go with the Power of the Primes Dinobots, obviously, but I think she kind of fits in well with some of the Studio Series ones that we've been getting. But yeah, she's a good little raptor mode. She's got pretty good articulation. She's got legs on a ball joint back here, and then a swivel there because I mean this whole thing becomes the robot mode arm, and then the knee can bend 90 degrees, but I pretty much leave it fully bent in dinosaur mode. Her little arms up here are on just swivels. They can swivel up and down her head. I mean, it can do that, but I mean, really, that's supposed to stay locked in. Her head can move up on this joint, and then the mouth can open. But if you have it like down, the mouth can open only about that much, and then the more you raise the head up, the more the mouth can open. Whatever. But yeah, she's a nice little raptor. I think the only problem that I have with her on this mode is this little hole that you can see straight through her. It's a shame that they didn't just like put some panel on the side of the body there just to fill that in. But yeah, no, it still works pretty well. And for a little figure like this, that's not a huge deal. She's sort of forgot about this gimmick, but you're supposed to like you can flip this panel up and you can sit a Titan Master or a Prime Master in there. Looks a little weird because it's like sitting inside the dinosaur, so I don't really use that, but that is something that you can do. I'm just not going to bother showing it off. But yeah, not to transform her, we got to show her off with some other figures first. First of all, the only comparison that I think matters, here she is with Kingdom Core Class Vertebrae, because this figure sort of feels like a spiritual successor to Slash. They just I don't know, they feel like they could be rivals, little female Dinobot core slash legend class figures, which are the same size class really. But yeah, they just kind of have a lot in common. As soon as this figure came out, I definitely was reminded of Slash just because yeah, you can clearly see the similarities there. But yeah, also here she is with Studio Series 86 Grimlock. Like I said, she's really meant to be with the Power of the Primes Dinobots, but I like that scale. Velociraptors, like real Velociraptors, not like, Beast Wars / Jurassic Park Velociraptors, are like pretty tiny little creatures. So I think that works relatively well. Probably she should be even smaller in comparison to him, but also like, he's not a real T-Rex either because he's standing like that. So it works well enough. But yeah, no, I like her as just kind of like a tiny little fifth dino or sixth Dinobot rather. But yeah, to transform her, you want to open up that panel again and take the whole dinosaur head and flip it up into the body like that. Then you can close that panel and it kind of like straightens out the head and clicks like that. You can take the tail, flip that up onto that whole thing. You can kind of just flip up these dino arms there too. Get the legs out of the way, and then the like belly, I guess, of the dinosaur kind of folds out, and then you untab it, flip these around, and there's her toes are kind of folded up inside there, and those will be her legs. And then there we go. And then for the arms, you literally just take the feet of the dinosaur motor just plugged into her the back of her palms, and you just fold them down like that, and they just kind of sit on the bottom of her forearms, and there you have a Slash in her robot mode. And yeah, it's a really simple little elegant transformation. There's a few things that I think are really neat. Like I like how that works where these just tab into the backs of the palms. I'd be slightly worried about just like the pressure from clicking that in kind of breaking this, but it seems like most of the pressure is the piece kind of pushing onto the bottom of the hand, not pushing into the fingers. Like they don't make contact with the fingers until it's actually tabbed in. So that shouldn't have, it shouldn't really risk breaking those fingers off, but it does, it's not like super tight, but it feels a little bit scary at first when you think it's like putting pressure on those fingers. But since it is just kind of putting pressure downward, I don't think it's a problem. But yeah, she's got pretty good articulation too. Her head can rotate. Her shoulders are still in ball joints, obviously. Kind of big ball joints too for the size of the figure, so she gets a pretty good amount of range on them. Bicep swivel, 90 degrees of elbow bend there, just from the dinosaur mode. Nothing at the waist. Ball joint hips, which can go all the way out that back, just because the stuff that she has hanging off her back, and then that far forward, she's got a thigh swivel, 90 degrees of bend at the knee, and then the toes can bend down like that, which I don't think is super helpful, but they do kind of like click into place too. So I'm pretty sure you're supposed to kind of keep them like this. And there's like a slight sort of, they do that thing where they kind of sculpt the feet at a slight A stance there. So you don't really need the ankle tilt for her to stand flat-footed with her legs slightly spread. But yeah, no, it works pretty well, I'd say, especially for a little figure like this. Again, like I don't really have many problems with the robot mode. The only thing that is kind of a bummer is just the way that the dinosaur mode arms just kind of like hang out back here and kind of like jut down. But that's, there's worse kibble on other figures. That's not too big a deal. One thing that I think is kind of neat is how she's got the tail just kind of on the back here. But since the tail has this like hollow section for where the head goes in, from the front, it kind of looks like she's got like two little like blades sticking out of the back of her back, like sort of door wing style, like for the car transformers, but it's actually just like a solid piece with the tail. And I think that makes for kind of a neat silhouette trick. But yeah, I can show her off again with Grimlock and Vertebrake. Here they are together again, and you can see, obviously some different design choices for robot mode. Like just parts end up in different places, but they still have the same similar vibe together, and they definitely seem like they would be good rivals and it'll pair off because they're kind of like the smaller dinosaur members of like bigger, larger dinosaur groups. I don't know, just kind of a cool little parallel there. And then yeah, here she is again with Studio Series Grimlock. Studio Series Slag or Slug has been showing up in stores recently, so hopefully I'll be able to find him soon. But yeah, they look good together. I like, her as just like a little tiny Dinobot companion to the much, much larger Dinobots, because in comparison to the Power of the Primes Dinobots, she was still smaller because they were all deluxes and Voyagers. But we end up getting all 5 of the original Dinobots as leaders, like she's definitely like just completely dwarfed by them. But yeah, still pretty good little vibe. I like that they, they did this with all the Power of the Primes Dinobots, but they did the thing where they have the clear plastic rather than the gold plastic and then painted gold on the inside of it. So it has that, like G1 Dinobot toy look to it. But yeah, I like her as a little 6th Dinobot member. Definitely a cool little addition to the team. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about her. She's just a really solid little figure. They did also reuse this mold for Cindersaur, which I never picked up just because, I don't know, I liked it better as Slash, and I didn't really think it fit Cindersaur all particularly well because it just made Cindersaur into the same kind of like raptor mode rather than the, weird like sparkly dinosaur thing that Cindersaur turned into in G1. I'd like a new version of the what are they called? The, I guess, Spark Bots, and those were the Firecons? I can't remember what the Decepticon versions are called. I think it's something like that, but Firecons might be something else. But either way, that's neither here nor there. This is a great little figure, and yeah, that's pretty much all there is to say about it. So if you enjoyed my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do reviews every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. So yeah, here we have Transformers Power of the Primes, Legend Class Slash.